Hi, I'm State Senator Michael Rodrigues from Massachusetts. Thank you for inviting me to offer my thoughts on the current state of politics in the United States, as well as these very important midterm elections. The country is more divided now more than it's ever been. Hyper-partisan news outlets fan these flames, and changing demographics and diverging ideologies results in policy making at the federal level being incredibly difficult. In Washington over the past year or so, the situation has been precarious. In October of 2013, partisanship and ineffectiveness in Congress got so bad that the entire federal government shut down for 2 weeks. Approval ratings for Congress and the President continue to plummet. Just a month ago, a poll showed that only 14% of Americans approve of the way Congress is doing its job. This is the lowest congressional approval rating this close to a midterm election in 40 years. President Obama's approval ratings have also been struggling. The most recent polling shows a 42% approval rating, while 53% of Americans say they disapprove of the job that the president is doing. While 42% is certainly better than Congress's abysmal ratings, it should be put in context. Since approval ratings began in 1938, the average for all U.S. presidents have been a 53% approval rating, putting President Obama 11 points below the historic average. With this current state of affairs in mind, we need to think critically about the midterm elections and what is at stake here. With the entire House of Representatives and more than a third of the Senate up for election, there is a lot on the line as Americans go to the polls on Tuesday. The most important issue being control of the U.S. Senate. Democrats have had control of the Senate since 2006 and currently hold a 55-45 majority. If Republicans take back the Senate, they will have control of both chambers of Congress, but Democratic President Barack Obama will continue to serve another 2 years in the White House. This will allow Republicans to pass more legislation through Congress, but their political agenda would likely be vetoed by the president. Most polls are now predicting this exact scenario, with Republicans gaining enough seats on Tuesday to attain a narrow majority in the Senate. The House of Representatives, currently under Republican leadership, is unlikely to see a majority change. Republicans have 234 seats in the House, compared to 201 seats held by Democrats. With this large of a margin, it is very unlikely that we see Democrats gain enough seats to make a real difference. It should also be noted that historically, the party that controls the White House, the Democrats, this year, usually loses seat during the president's 6th year in office. If this holds true, the Democrats are likely to lose seats, giving the Republicans an even larger majority in the House of Representatives. But this hovering Republican threat could be a dark cloud with a silver lining for places where American military presence is vital for its population, such as the case of the largest base in Terceira Azores. Traditionally, a Republican majority government favors a more robust military machine, and perhaps it could have a potential to be a blessing for the Azores after all. Of course, a heavy military might is not looked upon as favorably by many Americans, especially when there are other critical priorities competing for dollars as the country continues to recover from the recent financial crisis. Many Democrats would much more prefer our financial resources be invested in the full implementation of recently passed universal health care legislation, as opposed to military spending. At the state level, we are facing similar uncertainty. The Massachusetts legislature is firmly Democratic. However, polls show the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Charlie Baker, is likely to triumph over his Democratic opponent, Martha Coakley. This would create a similar dynamic, with the legislative body passing and sending progressive bills to the governor, and a Republican governor, unfortunately, vetoing our legislative work. While the legislature can override a governor's veto, it requires a 2/3 vote instead of a simple majority. This can be difficult to do and could effectively stymie the progress of policy making and governing in our state. Ultimately, compromise is necessary in the state and federal levels. However, the Republican Party does not seem amenable to enacting and embracing progressive, socially just policies. So we, as Democrats, must continue to fight for the policies that will bring our country forward. The Democratic Party is focused on protecting the progress we have made thus far and working towards creating more opportunities for all, regardless of race, creed, class, or background. Hopefully, those elected on Tuesday have the same goals in mind, take their position seriously, and are willing to work collaboratively for the good of the country. We are all waiting and hoping for the best on Tuesday. Thank you very much.